The Republicans had an amazing turnout, and they won. The projections are pretty good for Republicans to regain control of the House, but there are still many concerns. Individuals, more conservative, independent, libertarian, and Republican, wondering how it could be that Democrats overperformed. There are a lot of questions. With dismal approval ratings for the president, overperformance in the polls by Republicans, massive gas prices, hyperinflation, this should have been a major victory for the Republicans. But it wasn't. It's just a regular old victory. That doesn't bode well for the Republicans moving forward into 2024, but we will see. Right now, the Republicans, conservatives, they're fighting over DeSantis or Trump. Trump's candidates underperformed, but DeSantis won by 20 points in Florida. Now, I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. I can't tell you who should be the nominee, but in the prediction markets, they're all favoring DeSantis now. Because I mean, look, 20-point victory is beyond landslide. But of course, to the story you've all been waiting for. Democrat reelected in a landslide, even though he's dead. That's right. Tony DeLuca, who is not living and has not been living for just over a month, was reelected in a landslide. They don't know who they're voting for. They don't pay attention to the issues. They don't care. These are low information voters you are up against. And the strategy of facts over feelings is not going to work. This is amazing, isn't it? Now, I'm sure there will be many people on the right who will claim fraud or something like that. I'm telling you, my friends, low information voters walk into the polls, they smash the Democrat button, and they walk out. And that's how it happens. A dead Democrat has won. So while everyone's telling you about the quality of candidates, you need to be reminded that's not the case. It may be the case for Republicans, but it's certainly not the case for Democrats. The reality here is I think both scenarios are true. Republicans need good candidates. Democrats do not. If you're going to overcome the cult vote, then you need someone strong, charismatic, a uniter, someone who gets massive press and is hard to strike down, like Ron DeSantis. Now, as I mentioned, conservatives are fighting over whether it's going to be Trump in 2024 as the guy who's going to announce on November 15th. So he says it's coming up real soon, about 1 week. He's going to be announcing, and we assume he's going to announce he's running in 2024. Well, I think it's simple. I think there should be a primary, and we should see who actually wins. Trump has his diehards, and I respect and understand their position. But DeSantis is younger with military experience and has just shown us he can lead. Across the board in Florida, it is a giant red wave. But nationally, under Trump's leadership, less so. Trump really is this great villain for the Democrat voter, and it makes it easy for them to rally against. DeSantis, of course they don't like him, but they don't have enough to go off of. He doesn't have the gravitas of Trump. And while for a while that was hugely beneficial to Republicans, it might not be the case anymore. Boy, do I really want to read this story about a dead Democrat winning so y'all can understand exactly what's going on. And then we'll take a look at what's happening with the prediction markets with Donald Trump. But before we get started, my friends, head over to losingmymind.com to support our song Genocide, which is currently trending number 29 on music. Buying the song is the most powerful thing you can do. 69 cents on iTunes. And for that little, you can help us dominate the charts, smash into the Billboard Hot 100. It's a long shot, I know, but it would be really nice. Because culture trumps politics. You want to know why a Democrat won even though he's dead? It's because people are locked into the culture. They're told, vote Democrat by the celebrities, by the TV, by the advertisements, by popular culture. That's where we got to win. Now, we can win in technology. Elon Musk is doing a lot of funny things on Twitter. We can win on policy. Ron DeSantis really hit these policies out of the park. But how is it then that nationally Democrats vote for candidates who are brain damaged more than once? And in Pennsylvania, of all places, a place where energy and fracking is so important to the economy, they voted for a Democrat. Democrats are opposed to all of that. It's because of the culture. With your support, we will smash into those charts. So check out the song, too. You'll love the video. We mock and belittle the establishment media, and we really could use your support. You can find the song on all platforms by going to losingmymind.com. I'm amazed we were able to get that one. But don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. This week is really important. We have until tomorrow night for that song to get as many sales as possible. Tomorrow we'll do a big push. But seriously, guys, thank you so much for your support. From The Guardian, Democrat reelected by a landslide in Pennsylvania, even though he's dead. Win by longtime state rep Tony DeLuca, who died last month, triggers special election that will be held on a later date. Now, I can already hear it. A bunch of people are going to argue fraud, that what really happened is that nobody voted for a dead guy. It's that the machine, the Democrat cheating machine, just mass-produced ballots. No one's really saying that right now. I'm just saying it's an easy explanation. I think the real explanation is that Democrats have a lock-on culture. They want to fit in. It is the norm. There's a viral meme, and it's a bunch of comics, a comic panel, where it's like on the TV, it's like Republicans are bad. It's people with signs, Republicans are bad. It's a rock musician on a stage saying Republicans are bad. And then someone says, I think Democrats are bad. And the other person says, you're brainwashed. That's what it is. Billboard Chris, you guys know him? He wears the sandwich board and he goes out and the sandwich board says children can't consent to puberty blockers. There's a viral video that he put up where he walks up to, a guy calls him brainwashed. And he says, how am I brainwashed? He goes, F you, F you, F you, F you. And he's like, can I show you a video? He goes, no, no, no. There's another video of a guy saying Democrats are, he's asking people, do you think Democrats are election deniers? And they say no. And he goes, can I show you 150 examples of them denying the election? And they go, no. They don't want evidence. They don't care about logic. They just want to be in a cult. How do you break them out? Culture. Here's the story. Longtime Pennsylvania state rep was reelected in a landslide, even though he died last month. Democrat Anthony DeLuca, Pennsylvania's longest serving state rep, was the choice in more than 85%. Bravo. DeLuca, 85, died on October 9th from lymphoma, a disease he had twice previously fended off. Now I want to pause here. Send my condolences to his family and friends. I in no way mean to disrespect this individual. Clearly, he was very popular and people really liked him. And I think it's fair to say people did not know he was dead. I don't think Democrats went into the polling place and said, that guy died last month, I'm going to vote for him. I think the reality is they don't know what they're voting for. Now, certainly some people knew they were voting for him. Of course they did. And they knew this would result in a special election. But I think most people just went in and said Democrat. By the time of his death, it was too late to change the ballot or put forth another candidate for his seat. While his opponent, Green candidate Queenia Zara Livingston, accounted for more than 14% of the vote, DeLuca's victory has triggered a special election that will be held at a later date. Quote, while we're incredibly saddened by the loss of Representative Tony DeLuca, we are proud to see the voters continue to show their confidence in him and his commitment to democratic values by re-electing him posthumously. The Pennsylvania House Democratic Campaign Committee said in a tweet, a special election will soon follow. It's not the first time a candidate has won an election posthumously. In 2018, brothel owner Dennis Hoff won a seat in the Nevada Senate as a Republican, despite dying the month before. Unlike in Pennsylvania, however, his victory did not trigger a special election. Under Nevada state law, county officials could appoint a Republican to take Hoff's space for the entire team. Some blame low voter awareness of current events such as whether the candidate is alive or not, for why candidates get elected posthumously, while others suggest voters are simply choosing the name they're most familiar with. I think actually they're just hitting the R or the D, which is why I proposed in the past that we remove party affiliation from the names of individuals on the ballot. There's a really funny moment where a transgender anarchist Satanist ran as a Republican and ended up winning a primary. Republicans just voted for this person, and then they got really mad when they found out who they voted for. Maybe y'all should pay attention to who you're voting for. Now, right now, it may seem on the surface the story is framed very well to be like, well, Democrats and Republicans have gotten elected dead. When you take a look at what's going on in this country, you take a look at the polls, it is more indicative of Democrats that they vote blindly. I'm not suggesting that it's only dead Democrats who get elected. Certainly the story shows otherwise. My suggestion is At a time when most people say Biden sucks, the Democrats are failing, the country's heading in the wrong direction, people still overwhelmingly go out and vote for the incumbent. It's remarkable, isn't it? And John Fetterman, he beats Oz, even though he can't talk. He's seriously injured. Yeah. Republicans are not perfect either. Walker down in Georgia is not the sharpest tool in the box. I don't mean to be a dick to him, but he's not a particularly articulate man. Maybe he's smart and he just doesn't talk very well, but he does not come off as having deep intelligence. Again, not trying to diminish him. Intelligence is not the defining factor of human worth or anything like that, but he's certainly getting roasted over this stuff. Right now, the big question is whether or not Ron DeSantis will be the future of the Republican Party. The New York Post says DeSantis shows he's the future of the GOP, with the front page reading, "DeFuture." Hochul claims victory in New York. Young GOP star DeSantis romps to victory in Florida. It's interesting. Michael Goodwin writes, he is the future. Let me pull up a tweet from Mike Cernovich before we get into this battle between Trump and DeSantis. Cernovich says Florida saw a massive influx of Republican refugees. DeSantis governed well and ended voter fraud. But he's got to beat the champ, Donald J. Trump, in an open primary to show he can get out the national vote. No one is anointed. Let the brutality begin. Sticks Exenhammer responds exactly what the neocon, neo-lib uniparty wants. Sticks is very, very much a Trump guy. And I think Cernovich is leaning more towards DeSantis. I got to admit, I like Donald Trump in that he's a bull rampaging through the ivory tower. But maybe we already had the opportunity with Trump. Maybe he did what he could do, and it wasn't all good. Maybe it's time for stronger leadership now that Trump has reset the path. I don't think you need to count out Trump simply because DeSantis may do better. Let's read the story from the New York Post, just a little bit here. Goodwin writes, an old proverb says that the dogs bark, but the caravan goes on. In an updated version, Donald Trump plays the noisy dog as Ron DeSantis marches to victory. The Florida governor won a smashing blowout Tuesday by routing Democrat Charlie Crist by nearly 19 points. Nearly, it's over 19 points. 19.4, I believe. A margin that no poll predicted. He followed that with a raucous speech that was both a celebration and a skillfully worded test of national themes as he declared, Florida is where woke goes to die. Hear, hear, good sir. Riveting. And likely referring to the fact that he won Miami-Dade County, a longtime Democrat stronghold that is 70% Latino, won it by double digits. DeSantis declared, we not only won the election, we have rewritten the political map. That is invigorating. Come on. I don't know how Trump pulls past this, to be completely honest. Indeed, he has. With each cycle seeming to bring more Latinos from the GOP camp with the Miami-Dade victory, a huge leap forward. Suddenly, 2024 doesn't feel so far away, nor does Trump look like the only choice or the inevitable nominee. In that sense, the night was a coming out party for DeSantis, who has been wary of talking about anything other than re-election. He won narrowly 4 years ago, but his margin Tuesday will garner enormous attention among Republicans desperate for an alternative to Trump. Chance of 2 more years captured the sense of many that the governor's victory path at the State House is just a stop on the way to the White House. Naturally, all this is driving Trump further up a wall. As DeSantis closed in on victory in recent days, Trump began sniping from the sidelines, making veiled threats that he had dirt on DeSantis and warning him not to run in 24. It was a shameful spectacle, and yet so on par for the course that it garnered mostly shrugs. Trump also probably aimed to reduce DeSantis' margin of victory and thus reduce the threat to himself for the GOP nomination. Over at the prediction markets, my friends, Donald Trump is down, but not out. Ron DeSantis currently leads the prediction markets in the question of who will win the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. If we take a look down, this is not groundbreaking. Ron DeSantis previously had been above Trump for some time. And then Trump took the lead only briefly up until just, I believe it was November 3rd. On the 4th, it goes Donald Trump taking the lead with a huge spike on November 7th. And then it drops way down. If we take a look at the last, let's do 7 days. The spike is right there. Following the midterm performance, the vote is in. the prediction market believes DeSantis is more likely to be the nominee. Now, in the question of who will win the 2024 presidential election, Ron DeSantis has taken the lead. Joe Biden and Trump are tied at 25 cents, but DeSantis has 32. Now, again, DeSantis has been in the lead before. This is not groundbreaking. It's not earth-shattering. But right now, it's great news for Ron DeSantis, as he is now narrowly in the lead above Trump. So currently, it looks like, well, you can see here, Trump has dropped quite a bit. And at the start of the day, Trump was actually only down 1 cent from DeSantis. But DeSantis has risen by 2 cents. Donald Trump has dropped by 25. The way this basically works is there's $1 to go around worth of shares. And people are willing to bet that DeSantis is going to win in 2024. We will see. We don't know, man. Trump's got a lot in him. He does, but he is very, very old. Now, here's the reporting from the Daily Mail. Trump furious with Melania for telling him to endorse Dr. Oz and is screaming at everybody this morning after lackluster midterm results, while Republicans blame him for defeats and turn to DeSantis for 2024. I want to tell you something, my friends. I did not support Trump until like August of 2020. As much as many of these leftists might want to be like, you were always in the bag for Trump. I was always defending him because the media was lying. And I said for a while I would never vote for the guy. Then come August, I was like, anti-CRT, peace in the Middle East, Abraham Accords, trying to bring peace to the Korean Peninsula. I favored those things. And so I said, you know what? School choice, that's big. We got to go Trump. It's obvious. There's no way I'm going for Biden. Come on, warmonger. Now it's been 2 years. Now I'm easily just like, yeah, I'd vote for Trump. But right now, Trump endorsed Dr. Oz. Sorry. Kathy Barnett was a real option. She is smart as they come. Probably would have been one of the best candidates we had in the Senate. And Donald Trump said, nah, she can't win. Dr. Oz, he's the right choice. It's amazing. I think Barnett could have won, especially with Dr. Oz is so lackluster. Now, I think he performed well in debate. And I was like, okay, it's not all bad. But we were all laughing. This idea that he would choose this person. People said it was the wrong choice. You know what? It is what it is. Trump did really well with his endorsements. Like the people he endorsed tended to do really well. But many people are now suggesting that Trump is a drag on the party. It's hard to know for sure. Democrats bet heavily on dumping money into Republican MAGA candidates, hoping that would taint the Republican brand and help them win. And that may have been the case. Trump is livid and screaming at everybody. Well, let's be real. Maggie Haberman is claiming this, and she's not actually all that accurate, to put it mildly. So who knows? I'm not going to believe a word she says. I don't know if Trump is really mad at anybody. Trump posted on Truth, 174 wins and 9 losses, a great evening. And the fake news media, together with their partner in crime, the Democrats, are doing everything possible to play it down. Amazing job by some really fantastic candidates. Look, the Republicans did well. Here's what happens. The forecast was in that Republicans would win like 225 in the House and probably not get the Senate back. Then in the last month, the polls started shifting and the prediction market started shifting. And then everyone's like, it's going to be a red wave. And then there was no red wave. In Florida, there was. And so everyone's acting now like it was bad for Trump. And it's like, was that the game they were playing? Make you think it's going to be really, really good. So then when it's only okay, you think it was Trump's fault. Trump is galvanizing, invigorating to a lot of people. So I'm not saying he's out at all. I'm not necessarily agreeing completely with the narrative from the media. I do like Ron DeSantis a lot. Now, of course, the New York Post is coming out saying Trump snubs DeSantis' landslide as MAGA picks struggle in key races. But a lot of them won. So there you go. I mean, that's really, really important. The Republicans ended up winning exactly where they were predicted to win. They probably should have done better considering the polls had previously favored Democrats. Now they seem to have balanced out. In fact, with the latest shift, I wonder if the pollsters were trying to overcompensate and just be like, the polls show Democrats are going to win, but let's just crank it up towards Republican because we don't want to be wrong again. Well, they were wrong again. I'll tell you why I like Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is younger. I know. Age is the biggest issue, but Trump is a pretty old guy. He's a lot younger. He's got military experience. That's legit. I think that is extremely important. You're the commander in chief. I want someone to have military experience. He knows how to push real issues. He was talking about issues that mattered to people in Florida. He won by 20 points. Let's be real. Donald Trump won't shut up about 2020. I warned all y'all. I keep saying the fraud narrative is a waste of time. It's voter suppression. It is annoying. You are not going to win on this. Now, you may be right about a lot of these issues. Ron DeSantis cleaned up the elections in Florida. The left will probably call that cheating or whatever. Fine, they can deny whatever they want. And I think what we're seeing in Maricopa County in Arizona is really annoying. Nevada just announced a bunch of ballots have to come in. I get it. We do need to clean all that up. But you are not winning votes by saying that. Just like the issue of abortion or trans surgeries or whatever. They matter in certain circumstances. The left certainly pulled it out with abortion. Well, good for them. But I want you to imagine this. You've got high gas prices. You've got inflation. You've got the weird stuff going on in schools. And then you walk up to one of these moderate individuals that you need their vote. And they say, what do you have for me? And you go, I think we need to get to the bottom of these election issues from 2020. And they're going to be like, what? It's the same thing if you walk up to them and say, I think that we should give sex changes to children. They're going to be like, huh? Tell me how you're going to fix the problems in this country. I really do think the anti-MAGA narrative has worked really well for Democrats. I should say it worked better than we expected it to. Clearly, they lost because they campaigned too heavily on garbage. But Donald Trump, he does bring. He's when I say galvanizing, he's incendiary. That's good for Republicans, but it's also good for Democrats. Ron DeSantis is not that guy. Take a look at this one from the New York Mag. Ron DeSanctimonious is a low energy Trump nickname. It actually really is. That's the best he could come up with to try and drag down Ron DeSantis. I don't know if that's it. Look, I'm really excited for a primary. I want it. You know what? Let me put it this way. If Ron DeSantis cannot hold his own against Trump, he does not deserve to be president, period. If Ron DeSantis can stand toe to toe against Donald Trump and he can prove that he is the right guy, he can bounce back from the name calling. He can stand up to him. He can be respectful, tactful, and charismatic. Then he does deserve to be the president. But that's just simply put, it's a primary. That's what they're for. I don't think we should just come out and be like, no, it's got to be DeSantis. Here's why. No. If he can't beat Trump, he doesn't deserve to be the nominee. Trump is a king and kingmaker. DeSantis only deserves it if he can actually win. Now, he's shown with his midterm that he's got some wind at his sails. But Trump is still the champ, as Cernovich pointed out. From Politico, GOP mega donor. I'm ready to back DeSantis for president in 2024. Billionaire CEO Ken Griffin is a bit tired of Donald Trump. For a litany of reasons, I think it's time to move on to the next generation, he said in an interview. I agree. I do. Now, a lot of people don't like him. This is the head of Citadel, an investment firm, has been donating to political campaigns for more than 20 years. He's Republican establishment. A lot of people don't like him. And we had this question from Lisa Reynolds the other day on IRL. She said, but DeSantis is being backed by all of these establishment Republicans, people we don't like. And I'm like, yeah, because they lost. They're desperate. DeSantis is the only thing they have. DeSantis was a Freedom Caucus guy. Trump endorsed him and he's winning because he has the spark. I'm a big fan of DeSantis. I've not been a big fan of Trump for a long time. And I think tact plays a big role in this. However, I do think Trump still is a net positive. I don't know DeSantis' foreign policy. But I think with the Trump movement, you end up with legit candidates like DeSantis. Then DeSantis proves he has the leadership. It's an amazing meteoric rise. And with that victory, you now see the establishment bowing, being like, okay, this is the guy. It doesn't mean that DeSantis is evil or dark or it's a conspiracy. It's like when I see that the establishment is now getting behind DeSantis, I'm like, that means we won. That means we are winning this. Now, I know you want to see them all get behind Trump and start saying, okay, fine. whatever you say. I think the reason for that isn't because Trump goes against their values. He brought in Bolton. He brought in not Michael. He brought in, I'm lapsing on his name, John Bolton, Michael Bolton, not the singer, John Bolton. He brought in this guy who was a warmonger, and he brought in a bunch of swamp monsters. Trump was far from perfect, but there's a lot of good that he represented. He came in, he had his time. Can you tell I'm tired? I was up way late with the midterms last night. We did the show. The show went on for 5 hours plus. Woo. So forgive me for pulling a Biden. But when I see these establishment guys getting behind DeSantis, you realize that DeSantis is doing his thing. If you like the thing he's doing, then it's good they're getting behind him because it means your influence has won. But again, we will see. And there is still more. Meghan McCain, she says, last night was the final nail in Trump's political coffin because too many of his suck-up duds lost an unlosable election. Now is the moment for DeSantis to take charge of the ship. Meghan is not John McCain. John McCain was bad for so many reasons. Meghan, she's not so perfect. She's all right. I don't know. I don't know if I completely agree with her that it's Trump's completely done. Of course, she'd want to see him out. But I think you're going to see a lot of the sentiment, and DeSantis could actually be unifying. So if Meghan McCain is more in the establishment side of things, and she's going for DeSantis, and then you've got tons of populist MAGA people lining up behind DeSantis, we have someone who could unify. I'm not sure Trump's got it. I'm just not. Here we go. Biden will speak at 4 p.m. today, and aides say he will run in 2024. White House believes is being buoyed by Democrats holding off a red wave despite dire approval ratings, with president projected to outperform Obama and Clinton in the midterms. I know a lot of people are going to scream cheating and all that stuff. I'm like, I think people just refuse to accept that they can lose. And it's crazy to me. Carrie Lake is on track to win, but we'll see. It's close. I don't understand how Trump can actually win and then do a bunch of good things, but also some bad things. And then get big votes, but have the media lined up against him and every institution against him. And then people are like, the only way Trump could have lost was by cheating. And I'm like, I don't know. Or the entirety of media and big tech lined up against him and put their thumb on the scale. Oh, no, fine. Call that cheating. But people are arguing like there were fraudulent ballots and things like that. Look, fraud happens. Enough to swing an election? I'm not convinced. I'm really, really not. I think it's an easy answer. I think it's a simple answer. It's not our fault. Someone must have cheated. Well, if you want to come at me and say that big tech censoring information was manipulating the public, if you want to say that the media was lying, I'm like, yeah, welcome to politics. That's how they do it. If you want to argue they made procedural changes like universal mail-in voting, I'll be like, yeah, that greatly benefited Democrats. But it was all done through procedure. Lawsuits, law changes, state, local elections. These are the things that need to happen to rectify this stuff. I think it's an easy answer to claim that you lost because someone did something illegal. I think the reality is Donald Trump is deeply divisive and he's an easy target. As strong as he is, as powerful he is, you need to realize that when he goes on stage and insults people like Rosie O'Donnell, there's people who are going to be like, I'm not going to vote for that. Some people just don't want to buy it. They don't want to believe it. I've told this story many times. When I was going on Glenn Beck's show, I'm riding in an Uber. And this guy said the driver was like, I like Trump, but I just wish he would shut up. Yep. The policies were good, but the person struck a chord with some people. It is what it is. Ron DeSantis doesn't have that same weakness. I'm not saying Trump is weak. I'm saying vulnerability. DeSantis is hard to go after. Now, they'll lie, they'll cheat, and they'll steal. But Ron is charismatic, young, and he's not, that's the right word. I don't know. He doesn't have that same off-putting factor that they've smeared Trump with. But again, the primary is the important factor here. We will see in a GOP primary, assuming DeSantis decides to run. I hope he does. I want to see him take on the king, and I hope that he proves his worth. Otherwise, he doesn't deserve to be the nominee, and maybe Republicans don't win. I don't know. Or maybe they do. Maybe Trump really is the guy to carry it. There's one other possibility. Currently, national divorce is trending. Yeah, because a lot of people are saying, I can't believe Ohio voted for Vance. Some people are saying, I can't believe that Florida voted DeSantis. Some people are saying, I can't believe that Pennsylvania voted Fetterman. Lauren Boebert may actually lose. The latest prediction from the New York Times was that she'd win, but it's changing. More and more votes are coming in, and it's very, very close. She's currently down a little bit. Everyone is pointing the finger at everyone else, like, I can't believe this is happening. So maybe the end result is national divorce. Because if it's not going to be Trump, if the Democrats keep winning despite the damage they are placing upon this country, reaping, sowing, then we're in trouble. I'm seeing a lot of data points that are really interesting. The Democrats overwhelmingly win with unmarried women. That's why abortion played a big role in this. Unmarried women want to hook up with dudes and not have kids. That's it. It's not the only reason. I'm not saying it's the biggest reason. I'm saying abortion plays a role. No responsibility. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. I wonder what the future is going to look like as we move in this direction. No fault divorce ended marriage. And compounded by the fact that, we have non-discrimination laws, women entering the workforce, which I think is a good thing. It results in a few things that that some people, conservatives, I would say, are negative. The left would try and say that, the right's misogynistic and hate women. Certainly not the case. They love women. Men love women. The issue is values. Families raise better kids. Unmarried women have a harder time raising kids, and thus they would like to be able to get abortions if they struggle with it. They have a harder time raising kids because there's less income. And then these kids without two parents end up, being more likely to commit crimes or do drugs. That's a bad thing for the future of this country. There's one simple solution. Don't demand they live the way you do. Advocate to protect people, that I understand. But do everything in your power to have a family, get away from cities, start building the parallel economy, become an expert, study, expand your skills, get in shape, have kids, and teach your kids your values. That's the real issue. Too many Republicans have just sat by and watched. But for the time being, you can count on Democrats to vote in the dead, and we'll see what happens. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. tonight over at youtube.com/TimCastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.